All right. Hey guys. It's another car video and I've moved my setup a little bit. I don't know. I guess I gotta wait to see if the camera will I gotta see if it'll lighten up or if I need to put a light on. Does that help? No. I think maybe I'm gonna move the car a little bit. Hold on. Because I want to get a good light angle. Alright. Oh, here we go. We're doing a little thing. Oh yeah, okay. If I do like this. Oh, that's much better. Okay. Okay. Oh, I have my maybe that'll actually work. Okay, that looks much better, I think. Let me maybe angle you guys a little down a little bit. I'm gonna try and get my face like in the middle. Okay. I think we've got a winner. Maybe. Okay. So the reason I'm setting myself up this way is because I have a pad of paper. You know how I talked a few days ago about doing the analysis of where you're at currently, being honest with yourself, and then where you want to go? I'm literally going to do that with you guys, like, right here. So, number one, and I don't know if I'm going to... So yesterday, I honestly, I got so wrapped up in the Steam Deck thing that I was doing with the Rogue Ally that I literally went to bed and I didn't even think about the night stuff. However, I might do like a separate video or something and throw it in there. You'll know either way. It was either a really sad 2-minute video or I did something else to make up for it. I don't know. But regardless, man, it's so weird that it just puts a box on my head. It's just a little it's doing like a this thing. It's boxed my head in. Anyway, sorry. So, okay. So what am I doing here? This is obviously the first video of the day. And I don't know what time it is, but it's a time. I think it's 2 in the afternoon. So I woke up, I was just ugh, felt awful. It was 9 or 9:30, and I ended up watching some YouTube videos, and then I was futzing around. I basically spent most of the time working on the installing SteamOS into the Rogue Ally, because I was so fixated on just getting this thing to work. Turns out, part of the reason it wasn't working was because I was downloading the wrong file. There's an image file that you download in order to basically make the boot drive. Long story short, I was downloading the thing that had a dot. There was a dot file that was an image file, and I thought that was the only thing I needed to download, when instead I needed to download the zip file that has everything in there, because it won't work if you don't have everything on there. And I didn't know that, and then I realized, oh, that's what I was supposed to be doing. So I did that, and it still didn't work, but it got closer. And I was like, fuck, okay. And then I found another guide on, it was like the ultimate guide from like a month ago on Reddit that someone made. Did that. It was great. Followed everything up until the point where it just kept boot looping. I'm like, why is it boot looping? And then there was a guy in one of the comments that said, hey, so mine was boot looping. So I did this version and this version worked. And then I did that version and it worked and everything's great. And I was downloading some games onto it. I'm very happy. So that is out of my like realm of things that I was like trying to do. I'm done like worrying about that now. So that's why yesterday I was like tunnel vision on that for most of the day. I ended up getting a bunch of stuff done yesterday though. Like I didn't walk, but I ended up walking like 6,000 steps even without doing a walk because I was like running around in Costco and a bunch of other places, and it was like, yeah, I was trying to figure out where to get everything. I also set up the appointment for my suit fitting next week on Wednesday, which is great. So I'm doing that. I'm happy about that. I have my haircut on Friday, so that's a thing. Yeah. Now, the pad and paper. I've been meandering to get there. Also, on a side note, I was gonna walk today. I don't know if it's gonna rain or not. It's been off and on, like sprinkling some rain. So what my plan is to spend the first 40-ish minutes of recording, which I've already spent 7 of it, doing the paper stuff, writing everything down. And then after I've written it down, I want to walk for like an hour and analyze it while I'm walking. So that's what I think I'm going to try and do. We'll see. If it starts raining, then obviously things might change. But for now, it looks like the clouds are holding up. And being that it's in the forest, at least there's a lot of cover, so the rain maybe won't be so bad. Hopefully, I don't know, ? So, okay. So, the reason I want to do this paper is I'm realizing my focus is all over the place. And the reason is because, number one, I don't have a clear understanding of where I'm actually at. Because my logic dictates, well, there's a lot of stuff going on, and yeah, you have some goals and all of this other stuff, but like you're effectively, logic's like you're going to be homeless. And I'm like, okay, well, now hold on. Like, I don't actually believe that. That's what my logic's saying, because I don't have anything lined up, and it's trying to kind of, I understand that it's trying to get me safe, and it's using fear to try and get me to have a safe place that I can set up so that I'm not just stuck. But that being said, this whole thing is not about doing the safe thing. If I was going to, I would just have re-signed the lease. So I realize I need to actually figure out. Okay, hold on. It is getting a little hot. I think I want to. Yeah, fuck it. I'm just gonna. This is gonna be a little awkward because I'm just, you know, the barrier of the car stops my voice from traveling, but now it doesn't. So, whatever. Um. Okay. So, what I'm, man, even my hands are shaking a little bit. Because I am, in the end of the day, I am really concerned. Um, from a logic perspective about everything that's happening. Um, but okay. So, what I want to do is I want to write down first, I'm going to write down fears, which seems like a weird place to start, but I think it's important to, again, when I'm writing this stuff down, I just want to know where I'm at, because knowing where you're at can help you focus your attention towards the things you want to work on, or the things that are going well, or whatever it is. Okay, so aside, next to fears, well, I'm gonna do fears first. Okay, so I think my first fear is homeless. Homeless. And then by extension, I'm going to put under it, run out of money. Okay. Because I'm technically, as long as I have money remaining, I technically can just get an Airbnb, even though it's not really a home. It's like temporary. I won't be like living in my car. So like there's kind of like the fear in the end. Okay, so I'll put an arrow. The fear in the end here is living out of car. So that's really where I think the fear at the end is coming to. Because once you run out of money, you're just kind of like, if you don't have a job, and like the YouTube thing, it does not make me money, at least currently. That could change, but like as it stands right now, it does not make me money. And I personally know internally that I don't think the YouTube is meant to be making me money. It's not meant to be the livelihood. It's meant to be the documentation to the things I'm doing. Which is even scarier because, so I guess, no job. And the reason no job is scary is no income / way to make money. And why is that scary? Because if you don't make money, you are homeless. Okay. Okay, so the no job circles back to homeless. And the homeless circles to the running out of money, which is to the living out of the car. Okay. It's starting to rain. Ugh. Starting to rain a bit hard. Okay. So those are the two big fears right now. Is there any other fears I have? Alone. Okay, why alone? No one to... Okay, no one to rely on / feel understood. So it's kind of like, it's not like I'm looking for someone to rely on necessarily, but it's more like, being alone. I mean, I have felt that way for a long time, but even in the feeling alone, there were still people around me that I knew that I could at least pretend to feel understood and seen and all of that stuff, even though I know that's not the case. And again, it's nothing against those people. Like, I enjoyed the friendships, I enjoy everything about, like, the hanging out and all of that stuff. Which I, just on a side note, I want to mention, someone in the YouTube comments yesterday commented something to the effect of, like, I love you. And I'm like, oh, that's really sweet. And so, hey, I love you too. And I just want to say to all my viewers, I love you guys for watching my content. And I'm hoping that, this helps in some way with just documenting kind of how I'm going through things. So, yeah. Anyway, getting back to this. So, yeah, really, all three of these things, homeless, no job, and alone, these all kind of are really core things that it feels like these are things that I feel I need to feel fulfilled in my life. At a fundamental level. Regardless of, like, I talked about the, like, wizard magic stuff and the system and all of that other fun jazz. At the end of the day, if these three fears are not addressed at a fundamental level, then it doesn't matter about other stuff. Like, these are the core. Because, so, flipping the fears around, the desire I have in regards to this is so I'm going to write desires now. Desires. So desire number 1 is flipping it around. If my fear is homelessness, or living out of a car, my desire is to either own / live in home. Now, that's very basic, but I'm going to expand upon that. So, what does a home mean to me? I think of it as like, I'm going to put in quotes, home base, where I can house my excess objects I don't want to take with me on trips. Okay. So, I've talked about this before, but it's this idea that the home I envision for myself is a space that I can put anything that I'm not going to be using on trips, but that I still care about internally. So, like, my computers, I'm not going to obviously fly my computers everywhere. That's what the laptop's for. That's what my phone is for. That's what the Rogue Ally is for. Those are things I'm taking with me. The computers are not. Same with, the keepsake box, and then, I still gotta sort through the wire box and the other stuff, but it's like, an example, I have a few Lego sets that I'm like, well, like, what do I do with them? I'm not gonna fly them around to places, but I also care about them because they're like kind of symbolism for the different trips and stuff that I've done and the different aspects of like where I've been at. And so, like, having a small little like space dedicated for those things, it's like, yeah. So that's kind of where the like home stuff, that's where it matters. And again, I don't want to have a ton of extra stuff, but if I go and I find something cool and I bring it back, like, I want to have a spot to put it. Same thing with the car. Like, if I'm flying around places, I need a spot to park my car. So yeah. So that's the home. Number 2 is instead of job, I'm gonna write purpose. And the reason I write that is if I wanted a job to make money, I could go and get a job at some place. It may not be glamorous. It could be at a fucking Walmart or some place, right? If I'm desperate enough, I could get a job somewhere. But that's not having a job is not what I'm actually looking for. What I'm looking for is a purpose that also sustains me financially in some way. So sustains me sustains me financially. Fulfills me mentally and emotionally. Okay. Mentally, emotionally. Man, my spelling sometimes is so bad. And spiritually. Okay. So this is where the purpose is actually really big because, if we take the purpose on its own, it's like, oh, I'm effectively, the heavy lifting is coming from this purpose where I'm doing something that's fulfilling myself internally, and then that is also giving me the ability to have financial stability, which then translates also into home / whatever. So it's like, okay, so this is a big one. This is probably even more important than the home by itself, because realistically, unless like there's some thing that like happens. Oh, it's not raining. It's fucking hot in here. Or at least stuffy. Okay. So the purpose, this purpose is going to be really crucial. It's probably one of the most crucial things. I'm going to put stars next to this because I know how crucial this is. This is the crux of the issue. Because right now, I don't really know what the actual purpose is going to look like. I think maybe there's some sort of teaching thing, or like, I don't know. Like, I don't really know what it's actually going to look like. I feel a calling to something, but I don't know what that something is. So, and I think that's on purpose. So it's like, but anyway, I'm not going to know what that is right now. So I just kind of have to understand that's where I'm going to be at. And then, as opposed to alone, partner / soul family. Or and soul family. No, it's /. So, I think fundamentally for the partner and the soul family stuff, it's not about specific traits. I can list off stuff that I think I want or I don't want or whatever. But until I actually meet the person, I won't actually know for sure what I want from whatever. So really, the one thing I know I want from the partner is for us to resonate internally. Resonate slash be on the same trajectory. And what I mean by that is I'm at a part of my life where I've been purging this excess, both physically from like a body standpoint, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and also when it comes to like, removing myself from a situation that doesn't really fit me anymore. And so this is where the partner is also in that same thing where just as I'm making space for them, they make space for me so that we both can exist together and kind of move forward in this new phase, whatever it looks like. And, I think along the way, I don't know if it's I'm going to meet the soul family first and then the partner. I meet the partner first and then the soul family. Maybe they're all connected and attached together. I don't know. But that's definitely that's there. And those three things basically counteract the fears. So now that I've done that, I can kind of look at other desires past those fears. And another desire that I have that I've mentioned is magic slash system slash I'll do magic slash system first because I think that the like traveling slash world stuff is a bit different. And really, at its core, the like magic slash system stuff the reason I'm attached to this is because I feel it will give me freedom to create what exists in my mind. Okay. So the reason the magic stuff I'm so attached to it is because it is the avenue with which I can freely create the things that I want to create. And I've mentioned those things in the past, like it'd be cool to make a city, or, like a floating fucking wizard tower, or, like being able to build and design like cool spaces of nature. And I don't know, there's a lot of stuff there where it's like I could do those things without magic, but magic would make those things go from like you spend your whole life and you may not even get there on what you actually want to create, versus maybe in a couple years you could create it. So I think that's part of why that magic stuff exists, is because there is a lot of stuff in my head that I want to create that I don't feel like I have enough time to be able to create everything in my head that I want to create. There's so much there. And I've only scratched the surface on things that I like envision that could be like really awesome. And the thing is, if something shows up that will allow me to create the things, if it's not magic, that's fine. But let's get real. Who doesn't want to be able to fucking be a wizard and magic powers? And it's not about like I don't want to be like a superhero or anything. It's more like magic is such a versatile tool to create that I think it would be awesome to be able to do that. And and also like leveling system of progression of some kind or whatever. It doesn't have to be like the literal floating text box with a character sheet, but like some level of progression, because I love progression. I love progression. And yeah, it's like having some sort of guide towards the progression would be awesome. So okay, I'm gonna put under magic system progress. Okay. And then there's another side, which is travel. And I'm going to put underneath it like cosmic travel. And it's, why do I want to do cosmic travel? Why can't I be happy with traveling around Earth? Because there's a lot to travel around Earth. There's a lot to explore, a lot of stuff. So why can't I be happy with traveling Earth? And I think my first answer would be okay, internally there's this aversion to it. So internal to being stuck on Earth. Okay. Because obviously I enjoyed the travel. This is why the travel thing is on there. I liked going to different places and exploring and doing all sorts of stuff. I like that. What I don't like is that I am effectively confined to a bigger box. And that bigger box is Earth, as opposed to a city or a country or whatever. And being confined kind of goes back to freedom, where I want to be able to go and explore different cool, interesting, unique stuff that I think Earth is too small to like encapsulate everything I want to explore. So, okay. So that's the travel. Any other desires here? Looking at these desires, it's like they're both totally reasonable and very unreasonable at the same time. And what I mean by that is like living in a home is a totally reasonable thing to want to have. Having a purpose, having a partner, and a soul family, people who understand you. All these things are totally reasonable. But then I have something like magic, and it's like, it feels unreasonable, even though I think it's totally valid to want that. And then travel. It's like, well, travel, yeah, you could travel around the world. But then it's like traveling to other galaxies, other dimensions, other timelines, other whatevers. Like, that feels really hard to pull off and unreasonable. But at the same time, it's like, why? Why does it have to be unreasonable? And again, it's like, it's the logic part of me that's saying, you've been taught that these things can't happen. So why are you wanting something that you've been taught can't happen? And this is where I'm trying to break out of that like mold of effectively brainwashing. And the brainwashing has come through society and through like everything that I've kind of experienced. Where it's like, yeah, it's kind of, it reminds me of like the Matrix, where if you live in the Matrix and you're taught that the Matrix is all there is, then wanting something outside the Matrix is seen as unreasonable, right? And I feel like it's the same thing here. There's a very small box that we're taught is what we should want. And anything outside of that box isn't something that's reasonable. And I think as being that humans in general we have so much potential to do all sorts of awesome things and create all sorts of awesome stuff. And we have so much inside of us that we can remember, that the only unreasonable thing is the thing telling us that we are only allowed a very small sliver of what reality has to offer. That's what's unreasonable. And so, yeah. So I'm okay with writing these things down, even though part of me, the logic side, is trying to push those feelings and thoughts down. So aside from this, what else? Like, if I have all these things, let's do a hypothetical. All of these things exist, and I'm happy with each one of them. Is there anything else that I desire? Man, okay, so this sounds weird, but it was like combat. And I'm like, what the fuck? But it's like, it's not combat in the traditional sense. It's like mental combat. And when it kind of splitting it off, it's like, what is the actual combat thing here? And it's competition. I do crave this. It's not, so again, I kind of mentioned this before. It's not about winning. It's about the competition itself, where because I'm in competition, it brings out the best in me when it comes to growing and learning. So here's an example. In a lot of video games, because I'm using video games because that's where I got this craving from, and where I've kind of recognized that this is a thing about me. Which I'm going to write down competition before I forget. Competition. And I put in parentheses combat, because there is this weird sub thing within the competition where it's like, and I think this has to do with video games, where it's like, killing monsters to level up and grow stronger and all of that stuff. I genuinely don't believe that in a universe, in a multiverse of all of this stuff, sure, there probably is some combat focused universe, but I also think that it doesn't always have to be that way. And I think we've been trained through video games to kind of push ourselves towards thinking we have to fight things in order to grow and progress. And kill things effectively, because in almost every video game that is competitive in nature, there's a lot of killing, or there's a lot of fighting. Thinking about most MMOs or RPGs in general. Most RPGs, in order to grow and advance, you have to kill. And by killing, you get a little bit of XP, and then you get enough XP and you level up. And so I understand that from a video game perspective, combat and all of that is kind of a big part of like what draws people to video games. Because it's something that, yeah, we can like do like sports or martial arts or that kind of stuff to have combat with other people. But I think video games has this whole genre of things that you can do that you can't do in real life. Like you can't go take a sniper rifle and like kill a bunch of people in real life without like major consequences, right? And because it's all game and everyone's like, um, everyone is in agreement, obviously you get pissed when you die, but like you just respawn and do the thing again, right? So you're not actually like hurting anyone in a serious way. So that's where it's like I don't know where combat fits in with all of this. So that's why I'm putting it in parentheses as like I'm not really sure like if that's just a video game brained thing, like an Ooga Booga, Oonka Boonka, or whatever I want to, like the monkey brain of like I need to fight something. But anyway, so with competition, why? It brings the best out of me. And then why does it bring the best out of me? Because there are stakes. So pressure. And what do I mean by pressure? Procrastination has been something I've fought most of my life. And I didn't really fully understand why I always procrastinated until I realized that what procrastination actually does for my mind is it allows for a pressure to build up in order for that pressure to ignite me in a way that gets me to exceed normal parameters of how I exist. So it's kind of like my best works, my best things I've done have been under pressure, as far as I can tell. All of my homeworks and all of the things that I do, when I'm under pressure, it's like a switch gets flipped and I lock the fuck in, and there's like this extra level of flow that overlays because I have to do it. And because I have to do it, and because the pressure's there, it's like it fuels everything. So that's something where competition fuels that pressure. And so I found that out a lot in video games, where it's like under those really, really tough pressure moments, instead of cracking, I lock in and I become a fucking mountain that just like doesn't let the pressure get to me and instead allows it to compress me further. So yeah. So that's kind of like that's where I think competition's big for me. Aside from that, like I really do think I've kind of covered the desires um, to a deep extent. So I've done all this writing. It's 55 minutes in. Now, the question is, how do I translate this into what I can do right now? So I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to do moment to moment steps. Okay. All right, so before I even got, I was going to flip it over. So, being myself. That's been a key theme that's shown up throughout this whole journey, is me being myself and being genuine. Okay. I feel like I've done a pretty good job of doing that. If I feel upset, I just say I'm upset. If I feel I'm sad, I say I'm sad. If I have certain thoughts about like the wizard magic stuff, then I just talk about it. And I will say, one of the things that I really appreciate is that this channel gives me an outlet where there's a subtle amount of pressure to make sure I get videos out every day, because that's what I want. Is I want to have consistent videos out on the journey. And so the channel has given me a lot of helpful kind of nudges to where I know that people are going to be watching this. And so I feel like I can't. It's not that I can't lie. It's that I value speaking my mind and being truthful and being genuine, because that's what this whole channel's built on. My mind might change from day to day. I might have different thoughts or opinions, but at the end of the day, I'm just saying what I'm feeling and thinking, and that's it. And I don't allow myself to be censored just because there's something I'm thinking or feeling that maybe I'm worried about or whatever. So that's where it's like, okay, being genuine, super important. Being myself. Also, that kind of resonates with the whole idea of like making sure to just be yourself. Because when you are yourself, the expression of yourself resonates inside, and it makes a big difference. Which, by the way, I'm at 59 minutes. I have 10 minutes before this shuts off, and when it shuts off, I'm going to switch batteries and start walking. So I want to finish this steps thing real quick. I think I can do it. So, Hey guys, my camera overheat, or yeah, right after I said that I was gonna do swap the batteries and all that stuff, it overheat. Um, so I ended up saying, fuck it, I'm just gonna write down everything, and then I'll talk about it real quick once it cooled down. So it feels fine-ish for the moment. I also do the cross breeze thing, so maybe that'll help. But okay, so I wrote down. My next thing was nature hikes. Those are really helpful. I've found that when I do the nature hikes, it gets my blood pumping. I feel really happy with the nature stuff. I also get to record with you guys longer videos and just talk about stuff. So it's great. I love it. So that has to be part of like my daily stuff. Or I said 3 times a week. So if I do it at least 3 times a week, I'm pretty happy. Also along that line, 3 times a week with weightlifting. I haven't weightlifted in like a month and a half or 2 months at this point. I really need to get back into weightlifting. Specifically, I want to find something I can do that I was thinking about doing the water weights actually. But I have the straps, but I kind of want to do the water weights because I don't know, it sounds better. Anyway, so I have that 3 times a week because I do want to keep my muscles like active and doing my stuff. I don't want to lose a bunch of strength while I'm losing weight and everything. Then I have 2 times a week new places. So like there's a butterfly exhibit that I can go to that I've been wanting to go and check out. There's just other stuff I want to go and check out. So that I just haven't. So I feel like now would be the time to do that. And then my last 2 things are healthy food and daily showers. And again, the healthy food's daily, and then the showers are also daily. The shower thing is like such a crucial thing. I didn't even realize how important it was for me to do the shower because it sets up everything for me. So it's actually crazy. And then the healthy food also sets up like internally I feel better. And then my body feels better and mentally and everything when I have the food and the shower stuff. So I think for now, this is what I need to focus on. I also have some items that I wrote down at the bottom. Getting a pair of boots for hiking, the backpack, water bottle, extra batteries maybe for my camera, and then like med kit thing for like longer hikes. Because I know I'm going to be doing longer hikes at some point. So I don't know what that's going to look like. But regardless, that's kind of where I'm at. So I think I'm going to switch the battery now. And then I'm going to do my walk. And I think for the walk, what I'm going to do is I'll talk a little bit about this stuff. But I think also I'm just going to, I don't know. We'll just see what happens. But yeah. Okay. I will see you guys in a couple minutes. Bye. All right. So, I just turned on the camera. I just started walking. Oh, it's okay, little guy. It's okay, little bird. You're fine. The bird just freaked the fuck out when I started talking. Okay. So, you saw my list. Also, by the way, today I'm going to be walking because I only have 1 battery. And I want to make sure I effectively get the whole walk. I'm going to be walking up until about 30 minutes and then turning around. So then I have about an hour of footage here. Again, it's the same place that I have been walking the past few times, but I don't know. It's a great trail. And I will start doing more trails that are aside from this. But I think the main thing that I want to make sure I have first, we've been talking about, is the boots and the backpack, so that I can pack like a little day trip pack, so that I have supplies for the areas that I feel I'm unaccustomed to, so that then I can start just learning how it feels to have a backpack that might be, like the backpack itself that I'm gonna be getting. I've narrowed it down to one, I think, because it'll also, so I'm gonna be using it for like day hikes and stuff, but at the same time I'm also gonna use it for packing like trips. When I go on trips, I want to make sure that I have a backpack that I can pack, so I can potentially be one backpack. That would be great, honestly, because I don't, I thought about it. It's like, I don't really, if I have a good backpack, I don't think I need extra suitcases. Because the extra suitcases are carrying a bunch of stuff that I don't really use. So if I can be a one backpack Andy, then I will. Anyway, also, I forgot to mention, I weighed myself because I was like, well, I can't lie to myself. I just need to know where I'm at. Now, mind you, I did eat and drank a lot of water before I weighed myself. And that does matter. So I was at 261 with the food. And I thought about it. I had eaten 3 pieces of chicken. I had a bunch of pineapple. I must have drank like maybe 30 or 40 ounces of fluids, and hadn't really used the bathroom at all, aside from going number 1 in the morning. But yeah, which I'm feeling that bite me in the ass right now. I think I'll be fine, but worst comes to worst, I just go behind a tree, but kind of don't want to do that. Feels wrong. Anyway, so yeah, I basically, the way I usually math out what food looks like, it's usually a couple pounds, like 2 or 3 pounds. So I think I'm between, and I'll weigh myself tomorrow just to check. But I think I'm landing in that upper range of the 250s, 258, 259. And what that means is for all the stuff, like the being sick and not doing the workouts and not doing the walking, I only really gained a couple pounds. I gained like 4 pounds. So 3 to 4. So that's kind of big, because that means that I'm not as far behind as I was thinking I was. I was worried I was going to be in the in the 65. That's where I was like, oh God, hope I'm not like 265. So I'm pretty happy that I'm still like in the 250s, even though it's the upper end. So but yeah, a little squirrel, hi. Little scrambling squirrel. It's okay, yeah, I know. But anyway, oh my gosh, there's so many slugs. Well, getting back to kind of what I'm talking about when it comes to what I'm going to be focusing on. You know, it really is, it boils down to the same things. Same things I've been focusing on basically for most of this journey. Food, exercise, and new experiences. And the new experiences in the form of, like, you know, I'm going to be leaving soon. So I say soon. I don't know if I officially mentioned. The lease is up at the end of July. So July 31st is my last day in that house. So that is about 2 months away. And the 2 months will sneak up fast. But a lot can happen. And what I need to be doing is I want to schedule for like every week or so. I want to have at least 2 things throughout the week that I'm doing, where I'm going out and I'm doing something that I'm interested in experiencing before I leave. And I don't know what that's going to look like. It could look all sorts of ways. I don't know. But I'm going to pick things that I care about. And, at this point, there have been a lot of hints at where I live. And, I think at this point, it's kind of obvious if you've seen the signs, but not literally seen the signs, but like the little hints that have been dropped intentionally or unintentionally. Come on, bro. There we go. But yeah, so I'm just gonna do that. And you know, really, like, I mean, I'll say some of the things I want to go and do, I will film. And I think it's going to be really obvious where I'm at with that. But at this point, I've kind of realized that I don't think it matters too much, because I was worried. I didn't have like an end date that I was going to be leaving originally. But now that I do, and I know I will be leaving, I think it'll be safe for me to kind of slowly reveal the general state, if it hasn't already been figured out. And don't say it whether you think you know or not. I'll eventually say it in a video towards, like, you know, maybe a couple days or a week before I leave. But yeah. Anyway, so I guess, what is the plan on how I'm going to accomplish this set of stuff? Number one, I'm going to use my calendar and write down each week what I want to do for the whole month. And then next month I'll do the same thing. I'm going to be going to a place 3 hours away, ish, to go get my suit checked out, to see how close I am for fittings. But basically, I think I'm going to maybe do a video there on something. I don't know what it is. Haven't decided yet. But I figure it would be cool to have some sort of reference. Jesus. It's like there's so many bugs. It's crazy. Like, I understand that's part of the whole thing, but fuck, man. The bugs are crazy. I think that'll be one of the two things next week. Maybe I'll do the butterfly exhibit next week as well. Also, totally side thing. It has nothing to do with the two experiences, but the Disclosure Day video or movie, that's coming out next Friday. because I think today's the 3rd. I think, yeah, 3rd or 4th. I don't remember, but it's Wednesday, so whatever it is within that week. But yeah, so I'm gonna go watch that with my buddies. We've been waiting for that movie. The three of us have joked about the idea that this is how the federal government starts to disclose aliens, is first they get a movie made, and then after they start leaking more and more stuff about it. So I just thought that was a funny little thing there. I mean, it's totally possible that's kind of how things play out. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, I don't know. You can either believe or not believe all that stuff, but I've talked about it in the past. I will say my mind already feels clearer after I've kind of wrote down and figured out that list. And again, it wasn't a full extensive list. Like, I went to the heart of the matter that I wanted to kind of work on, but I kind of showed you like a very brief look into like how you could go about doing that. I still have plans for maybe making a video or something along those lines, a video series about like your journey. But again, I still don't know what it's going to look like. So, other than that, I think really the main takeaway I kind of realize is I need to be off my computer and out of the house more, because being in that house, it's like it tries to, I feel like I'm trying to be pulled back into an old way of existing, because in the past I have done the sit in my room all day, listen to the book, and then while I'm doing that, interspersing meditation and thinking about things, and like, it's a whole thing during the healing process. But I'm kind of past that point, and so I need to start acting like I'm past that point, because I am. So that means going out and exploring stuff like I was doing when I was on my trip. Because you know what? I can treat myself as if I'm on a long trip here. And when I reframe it that way, suddenly, it makes the context of what's going on way different. If I view it as me staying in an extended Airbnb and me trying to effectively stay on the trajectory I've been on, then I think that'll help in pushing me towards that different perspective, so that then I can start treating that house as a no longer a home, but a temporary stay. And reframing that is going to be helpful. So, yeah. Kind of gauging my bladder. I'm like, I kind of need to go, but I can hold on. But I've already walked 21 minutes. So it's like, I could turn around. Oh, hey, little bunny. Hi. Hi, little guy. Look at the little bunny. Hi. You're so cute. You're so cute. Yes, you are. Hi, little bunny. Hi. Okay, I'm gonna go. All right, bye. You know what? That was a sign. I needed to turn around. I also just saw it was 22222 on my my recording device. So that was a cute little bunny. I need to blow my nose. Hold on there. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm settled. We're walking back. I will say there's something interesting about just as I walk through the woods, can feel myself be almost like larger internally, like I'm expanding out. I just feel everything around me. It's I will say, when I'm talking and everything, you know, it feels like you guys are just walking with me. Just being quiet listeners. But, you know, it's like as soon as I stop talking, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I'm in the middle of the woods. Oh yeah. So it's just interesting. But so I'm not really sure what else to talk about for this last leg, but I think I guess I kind of want to do a retrospect over the past couple weeks and kind of acknowledging that I'm being given a golden opportunity to really cement what it is that I care about. on a deeper level. And yeah, I don't know. It's like when sorry, there's just like a pretty persistent noise. So I wasn't sure if there was something kind of trying to creep up on me. But yeah. I was more focused on that for the moment. Oh, weird. It's like there's this like almost overwhelming kind of spread out of my feeling where fuck. I hate that the fucking bugs try to crawl up my nose. It's so annoying. Hold on, I gotta blow my nose again. Alright. Sorry. There's this feeling when I'm walking of like, I don't know. Like I can feel myself almost like being pulled out of my body a little bit as I kind of walk around here. It's a really weird sensation where it's like I'm just feeling more and it's a little overwhelming. So I don't really know what to say about that. But oh, there's a biker. All right. I'm glad I had a good spot. But yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of a bizarre set of feelings. So, but anyway, so getting back to kind of the plans or the thoughts or whatever. This is a great opportunity for me to cement what it is that matters, what it is that I want and need at a fundamental level in order to be happy. And, you know, I think part of that is this idea that I need to really focus on purging all the excess stuff I still have, because man, like that wire box, it's like I don't need the fucking wire box. I have plenty of wires. I also have 2 excess 20 terabyte external hard drives that I realize I probably want to look through and then figure out what I want to keep on there and what I want to get rid of, because I'm thinking getting rid of a bunch of excess data will free up, tons of space to house all the 4K videos I'm going to be making. So then again, they can't be 100 fucking gigs per video. I just can't have that happen. So that's a side thing I'm gonna have to figure out. But what I am excited about is having this, I'm just gonna start calling it a Steam Deck, even though it's not a Steam Deck. But I'm gonna use it like a Steam Deck. But having this Steam Deck equivalent, it's gonna open up so many options for my game storage. I think I want to make sure that I put everything that I want to play on there while I have the internet connection I have. Not saying that I won't have a strong internet connection later, but I think it'll change in terms of like how often I'll have access to it, especially if I'm traveling a lot. Hooking up to the local Wi-Fi at whatever place I'm staying at or whatever it is. I won't have a ton of time to futz around trying to download some stuff. So getting that all taken care of now would be great. And then aside from that, kind of figuring out if there's any ROMs or anything that I might want to download in order for me to play older games that I may not be able to get. That'd be also nice to have on there. So that it can kind of become the thing that I play whenever I want to do something with my like gaming wise. So because I still think, so in spite of the fact that I inherently feel that doing all the gaming, it's I don't know if waste of time is the right word, because it's not a waste of time so much as it's a time sink that can be spent doing other things. So it's like, okay, how do I balance? Because you can't look at everything in black and white as, well, this is a time sink, so I shouldn't do it. Because I could just say the same thing about watching YouTube videos or reading a book or any other thing that I experience. So that's where, I talked about balance, and I'm like, okay, keeping myself balanced where I do things I enjoy, but I don't have to be consumed by the things I enjoy. And that's also not to say that a I'm going to suddenly stop doing things I enjoy or do a bunch of stuff I don't enjoy. It's more about like the multifacetedness of, I love reading. Should I read all the time? No. I can read every day if I want to, but I shouldn't read the whole 24 hours. So that's where having the right balance to enrich my life with the reading without consuming my life. And then same thing when it comes to video games. If I have a chance to whip out my game and start playing something randomly, great. So, yeah. I also have, I still have my Switch, and that's something that I'll also have, but from what I've heard, you can get Switch emulations, which is like, well, fuck. I definitely want to get emulations of all the games that I own on the Switch, so I don't have to use the Switch to play it. I think it's a little sus emulating stuff from like modern consoles that you haven't bought at least once. Like, for an example, I don't think it's a big deal if you've bought all the PS1 games in the past that you have, and you, for one reason or another, they're gone. I don't think it's a big deal to go and get an emulation of them, especially if they're childhood games or things that mean something to you. Yeah, you can buy them again, but then you have to buy the console, and then you have to set the console up in order to play them. And my thoughts are, okay, you, if you really want to, you can buy the game again just so you feel better. But I don't think it's a big deal. But if the newest game comes out and you immediately emulate it, that's where I'm starting to, like, I don't know, like, there's kind of a line in the sand I draw. I want to support the game, whatever it is, especially if it's an indie game. Like, indie games need all the help they can get. But, like, yeah, I don't know. I think having things you care about, emulating them, that's fine. As long as you realize that, like, you probably should support them in an official capacity as well. It's not a big deal if you're doing it because you also supported them. So you're like, okay, this is just way more convenient to emulate something. But, yeah. So, with that being said, I think my plan is to think about some old games, look to see if they're on Steam. If they're on Steam, just buy them on Steam. If they're not on Steam, get an emulation of them. And then, yeah, just kind of go from there. Whew. Almost done. 41 minutes. We're about to get to the last hill. And it's downhill, so yay. But yeah, that's my kind of stance on emulation stuff. When it comes to like videos and movies, TV shows, stuff like that, that's a little more gray because the current streaming market is so fucked. That you're gonna end up spending hundreds of dollars a month for all the streaming services. And it's like, I don't want all the fucking garbage that comes along with the streaming service. I just want to watch like, you know, a couple different shows or whatever it is. Which honestly, I haven't really watched much of anything recently. But, you know, there are certain anime that I really like that would be nice to have. So, you know, if the option is spend $300 on a box set somewhere in Japan and get it shipped over in order for me to not use it because I can't, or to go download it somewhere, you know, just saying. not commenting either way. But yeah, so is that a little squirrely? Is that a little squirrely? Saw a little bushy tail. So, well, I'm just about here. I will say I'm so glad and I'm just grateful that I've gotten to experience everything I have, and that I'm going to continue to walk on this path that is going to really propel me to the next stage, whatever this stage looks like. And, you know, I'm not perfect, but I'm just doing my best. And I hope that shows, because damn, I'm trying hard. Even when it's hard to get up or to do something. You know, just pushing yourself forward. And you know, I'm not trying to be too hard on myself, and I think I've done a lot so far. Even though sometimes I'm like, does it even feel like a lot? Not really, but I can recognize change when I see it, and you know, everything's coming together. So yeah. I also just want to show you guys this thing real quick. Take a look at this. Hold on. Flip this. Do this. the trail in the beginning is just filled with fucking cotton seeds from the cotton trees or whatnot. But anyway, I'll catch you guys a little bit later. You know, I don't know if I'm going to make a later video or not. So if I don't, you know, if I do, cool. But all right, adios, bye.